Hey guys, welcome back. This is Russell Linville. This is Move Better Monday, and today we're going to be going over an upper body dynamic warm-up. Last week we went over lower body, and remember we talked about three planes of motion I like to work in. We work in the sagittal plane, the frontal plane, and we get this rotational or transverse movement, right? And all three planes of motion help our body get primed and prepped for whatever workout or movement prep we want to do that day. So without belaboring it, like I did last week where we talked about why you want to do a dynamic warm-up and how you would move into a movement prep after that. Today we'll kind of get right into it. There's three movements I like to do, and this is upper body focused, and this is more of an open chain focused dynamic warm-up for the upper body. And all you need is a light resistance band, something to give you a little tension through your movement patterns. Now, if you've done band work for your shoulders before, you know there's a lot of movements that we typically do, especially in rehab, and they might have been overdone or lack of creativity in the past. We're sitting there just doing external rotation or coming to an internal rotation, rows, those sorts of things. Those are important in the appropriate time frame, right? But if someone's ready to get up and moving, let's get their lower body involved and let's get moving in 3 dimensions. So, first thing I'll show you from sagittal plane, the first one we do is a walking lunge with banded external rotation right here. So you take your resistance band, we have our patients do, and what I do is just loop around. Doesn't matter how, as long as it's about shoulder width apart. You walk towards 10 yards, take a lunge out, 1, 2, 3. Come up, hold a high knee position, step out, 1, 2, 3. We look from the side, come to a high knee, trying to lock this knee tight as you step out. Depends on your preference. Do you want the patient to be extended so they get some hip extension? Do you want to be here where they're loaded through the back leg a little bit more? And then again, 1, 2, 3. Now, the shoulder blades play an important role in this movement. You can try to lock them back and go. I typically like to have my patients actually use their shoulder blades in the same motion. Either way is okay. I think we get stuck in this position with rehab where you have to lock the shoulder blades down to move. Shoulder blades are meant to move, especially in a dynamic warm-up. Let's get them moving. Okay? Next up, we do what's called a side step into an overhead Y position with a little bit of this resistance band tension. So basically what it looks like this is moving now in the frontal plane. Start wherever you'd like to start. Again, you grab the resistance band, you create a little tension at the bottom of this movement, right here, and you try to maintain this tension throughout the entire movement pattern. Get into a little squat, take a side step, and as you step out, I want you to reach up overhead into a Y position. So it looks like this. Back down, up, back down, up, back down. Real big thing we're trying to avoid here is hyperextension through the back, right? Remember we talked about keeping a neutral spine. What I don't want to see is someone dives into that and they dump their spine forward, right? Really making sure they keep a neutral spine during that position, not sacrificing getting more range of motion overhead. If they get to a certain point, and this is as far as they can go without extending their spine, then I want them to stop here. Remember, this is just a dynamic warm-up. We're trying to get them moving. We're not trying to force range of motion at this point. We're just doing our best to make sure that they're moving a little better. Okay, and then the last one, we go into our PNF patterns. So this is where some of that rotational movement comes into play. You still have that resistance band. We go back to our forward lunge as we did in the first one here. You take that band, you put it in your hip pocket. The other hand reaches across the band. Thumb's going to be pointed down to start. And the movement we're trying to achieve is going from your opposite hip pocket all the way up, turning the thumb up and backwards to an overhead position like this. Okay? So what I typically have people do is they go down and back 10 yards. The first half of that, they work on their right arm. The second half, they work on their left arm. So it looks something like this. They take a lunge out. They come up and overhead. Whatever arm is doing the work, I like to have the opposite leg down. This is a very functional position, right? You think someone throwing a baseball, they get here. That's what I'm trying to mimic and reproduce in this movement pattern. Come down, switch over to the opposite side, come up here. Again, from the side, it looks like this. You go up, reach across. Again, do you want them extended here? I typically have my patients extended, again, as long as they're not hyperextended through the low back. Thank you guys for taking a look at some of the exercises I do with my patients. It's an upper extremity dynamic warm-up. There are other ways you can warm up the upper extremities, of course. We didn't go over any closed chain movements. Maybe that's in the future. We'll go over some closed chain exercises for athletes like wrestlers or rugby players, things like that, where they need to be able to embrace and stabilize through their trunk. But today, open chain, upper extremity dynamic warm-up. Remember, we're just getting people moving. So thank you guys for viewing this video. Subscribe if you like these videos. We really appreciate you checking them out. It's part of the Become a Better Human project. My name is Russell Linville. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, I'd be remiss to not mention and thank my mentors out of ATI Physical Therapy down in Greenville, South Carolina. They're the ones who've come up with this and taught this upper extremity dynamic warm-up program to me. And meant to mention them in the video itself. But if you guys are looking for rehab and you're in the Greenville, South Carolina area, go to ATI Physical Therapy at the Patewood office. We get some amazing physical therapy professionals there. They're really research-based. They know what the heck they're doing. And they taught me a lot of the stuff that I know, and I would not be where I am without them. So go check out ATI Physical Therapy. And thank you guys to all the mentors in the residency program there. Thank you for showing me